It's morning at the North Carolina Zoo's Forest Glade Gorilla exhibit in the summer of 2013. The gorilla troop, including mothers Jamani and Olympia, with their babies Bomasa and Apollo, and mother-to-be Acacia, spread out into the wilds of their habitat. Followed by Nick, a 410-pound silverback, father of Bomasa and Apollo, who as leader and protector looks after his troop just as he would in the West African tropics. For these western lowland gorillas, what happens here every day is ordinary life. For visitors, it's an opportunity to learn more about a species for which they share so much in common. And there's an even deeper story beyond the exhibit.
You go to a zoo, every single exhibit, there's so much more of a story built behind what you see behind the glass, the way that animals interact with each other.
Wanna come back up?
The way that they interact with the keepers.
Big mouth.
Good boy. The way that the keepers have to work and do all these things that you never ever hear about.
Thank you.
But there's so much more that's going on.
Okay, you can have it.
You might only be taking those few seconds to kind of see, oh, there's an animal, and keep going. But if you focus, you'll see so much more.
For the first time in 22 years, the North Carolina Zoo witnessed the birth of a healthy baby gorilla.
Oh, she's got it.
She's got it?
Yep.
Bomasa's birth is a welcome addition to the troop. He is the next generation of ambassadors for his cousins in the African wild, educating the public about the conservation of gorillas in their natural habitat.
The North Carolina Zoo has been working in partnership with the Wildlife Conservation Society in Nigeria and Cameroon and West Africa to help to conserve the most endangered of all the gorilla subspecies. And the cross river gorilla, the one that we work on, is the most endangered. One of the things that we've done is create a cyber tracker system, and that allows them to collect information about the gorillas, about poaching, and the habitat in general, so we can very easily map where poaching intensity is greatest, where the gorillas are spending the most time. All that kind of information is really important for formulating conservation strategies that will most effectively conserve the gorillas.
One of the ways that we can figure out how many gorillas there are in a group is by counting the number of nests. Where we're sitting right now is where the gorillas slept last night. So this morning, they would have woken up right here and then headed off into the forest to find food.
Foraging is a way of life for the gorilla troop. Every morning, the keepers help simulate their instinctual morning routine.
We'll hide it all around the exhibit, so when the gorillas first come out, they really have to search for their food, and then once they find the enrichment device, then they've got to figure out how to get the food out of it. So it's challenging, it's mental stimulation, it's similar to what they would have to do in the wild, actually working to find their food.
Just as humans, gorillas are driven by primal instinct to forage and to nurture their young.
I am so glad the mothers are taking care of their kids. We would have stepped in if something was wrong with them or if they weren't to hand raise them, but it's so much better to have them take care of them and do what gorilla mothers do than they're learning how to be gorillas and not humans. And that's so much better for them.
Gorilla young remain vulnerable for years and stick close to their mothers. In the wild, the silverback protects the group from predators. But here, in the southern wild of North Carolina, where threats are not as imminent, Father Nick, the silverback, is able to indulge in some quality time with his boys.
That was something that's never been seen before from what we've heard from other zoos, where the dads, they'll interact with the kids a lot, but not to the point where they're actually picking up the kids exactly like mom would do and tossing them on the back and walking around, and we were completely shocked.
Excitement built during the summer of 2013 as the gorilla troop prepared for another birth. As very pregnant Acacia approached her due date,
Right up here, sweetheart.
veterinary techs were on hand to examine the expectant mom
Good girl.
with ultrasound technology. The promise of new life was prematurely dimmed when soon after Acacia gave birth, she lost her newborn baby girl.
Because of growing human populations in Africa, people need more and more space for farmland, for places to live, so the gorilla's habitat is gradually being eroded. And we estimate that there's only about 300 cross-river gorilla left, which is less than the number of gorillas in zoos in North America.
So what we have here is a plant called Aframomum. This is actually a type of ginger, and this is one of the plants that the gorillas really like to eat. They eat both the fruits and the stems of the fruit. What they do is strip off the outside of the plant to reveal the soft center here, and they chew it. And it actually tastes pretty good.
This gorilla troop consumes about 75 pounds of leafy greens and fruits a day, a diet close to what these herbivores find in the wild.
Since Nick's the silverback, he gets first dibs for the food. When we're doing these public feeds at 11:30 and 1:30, we'll station him on one side of the exhibit. We could throw food to the girls from the other station. If he wasn't sitting in that spot the entire time with the carrots, he'd pretty much dominate all of the food. Good job, buddy. All done. Thank you.
The kids are 8 months old, 9 months old now, and they're really starting to play together. They like to wrestle when their mothers will let them. They get too rough, their mothers will split them up, but they've been a lot of fun at this age. But they're really letting them explore now. They're really strong. And that's the reason we don't go in with our gorillas. They're so much stronger than us that even if they were just playing around, they could hurt us without meaning to, without even realizing they are.
After losing her baby, Acacia appears to be healing, although slowly. Through her grief, she seems to have found a kindred spirit in her troop, Jamani, who once lost a baby of her own.
So you wonder if there's some kind of a connection or some kind of an understanding between the two of them, like, I know what you went through, let me help you out a little bit.
Acacia enjoys watching visiting families and babies in strollers. The seeming depth of her emotion is a powerful reminder of the connection between this gorilla mother and her human counterparts. Just as time was healing, the gorilla troop faced another heartbreak in late summer, when Nick, the 22-year-old silverback, father of Bamasa and Apollo, fell ill and never recovered. It was an incredible shock.
You know, you have this strong silverback that is the centerpiece of your exhibit and the centerpiece of the future, and just watch him go downhill so quick was probably one of the hardest things that I've had to deal with in my career, or any of us have had to deal with in our careers. It's just, you know, you see him one day acting normal, and you wouldn't even think that a week later he wouldn't be around anymore.
It's one of the things about working on cross-river gorillas, it's both, I guess, challenging and frustrating. Because they've been hunted so intensively for so long, they're very scared of people. They only spend time in really rugged, remote parts of the landscape. Even though I spend months and months each year walking around in the jungle, I don't actually get to see gorillas that often.
In all the years that I've been working on these animals, that's the closest that I've seen them, and that's the first time that I've ever been actually charged by a silverback.
Even though the threats are still there, we really are now having some impact on the things that threaten the future of the gorillas.
Even without Nick, even as sorrow lingers in the air, life in the southern wild continues.
Olympia's still keeping her old spot over there, and now Acacia's kind of hovering up towards the front. And Jamani's been great, kind of catching the carrots, and we're trying to catch the carrots like Nick used to do. That's it, all done. Thank you. Yeah, I think they remember us here and, you know, telling Nick, all done. They know we've got no more food. After Nick passed away, the moms were really clingy, wouldn't let them go very far. If they heard a noise anywhere around the exhibit, they'd just snatch the kid up and hold him tight, but they've eased off a little bit.
but the nicest thing is that we've got 2 little boys. We've got Apollo and Bomasa that are gonna kind of carry on Nick's legacy. Even though, you know, it's cliche, it's the circle of life.